This interview was carried out as part of my video, The Indie Dev Cheat Code, about the double threat approach of being an indie developer and a content creator together. If you find this video interesting, be sure to check out the main video and the other interviews. And of course, show the devs some love. They earned it. We're off. Don't worry if the video quality goes fuzzy, it will be fine on the recording. So
sounds good.
Do you make a point of carving out time to make content specifically in and amongst everything you're doing? Or
Yes. So I stream every day of the week except for Wednesday and Thursday. It used to be every day except for Thursday. I did that for about a year. I've also tried doing 7 days a week, kind of early on when I was streaming. And I found that I need, now that I run a company and I do the stuff like the ferret rescue and I make video games, I do all this stuff, I need 2 days off stream. And I tried it with 1 day off, and it was basically like I got a half day and then I have to sleep. It just was not useful at all. So 2 days in a row is much better. And it gives me a little bit of time to just do something for myself, which is usually just walking a dog, like walking, spaghetti and pesto, and that's it,
Okay.
But yeah, so that's, I do every day except for Wednesday, Thursday for that. And that is, I don't really plan content. I don't plan that out anyway. I just hit play and we go. That's it. I have a rough idea of what I got to do for the day. We've got a calendar with like either sponsorships or events or maybe something has gone on that we got to talk about. But like outside of that, it's not really a big thing. We usually plan most of those out within like the week before and like the next couple of days, right? Because I'm not streaming tomorrow. But Friday, I got nothing. Right? Like that's the end of the game jam. And we're going to see if we're done with all the voting and then we'll announce that day or we'll wait to the next day. Cause I think that's Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah, Friday's Valentine's Day.
Probably just wait. Yeah. So probably just wait until Saturday,
Yeah,
that's about
it. Do you put thought into your quote brand when you make content? Like, do you think this is something I don't want to be seen saying, or this is something I don't want associated with my name sort of thing? Or do you just do what you do and that is your brand?
I just do what I do. I don't really shy away from that kind of stuff. I find that I tried to kind of do that in the middle period where I had like about 100 viewers, and it made me feel like I was being fake because I was not being who I am. And there was a breaking point where I stopped doing that, and I went from about 100 viewers to 400, and then from 400 to 10,000. So it was like one of those things where like that felt like a limiter to me. And I felt like it was the thing you're supposed to do because I see all these other content creators and they're like, oh, I don't want to touch that. I don't want to touch this thing. And like, I don't have any problems talking about any subjects. The only thing that I prevent in the community is politics. And it's not because I'm not political. Like I have my own political aspirations and feelings and all that. I vote. I get involved in my local and national elections just like everybody else. And, the reason why I don't like it is because it leads to a fight at Thanksgiving dinner. There's no benefit in having that conversation when everybody's so deeply divided on those. I can have a nuanced conversation here and there, and we do. But it's so rare that you can have that kind of conversation. I'm just like, I don't want to deal with this. And that's probably the only thing I just don't deal with.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
And I don't I don't outside of the internet, though, to be honest with you. Like, I don't talk to friends about politics. I don't talk to family members about politics because we're all over the place politically, spectrum-wise. Like, it's just not, you want to get a fight with your dad, that's how you do it, right? It's like, I don't want to do that. It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, that's the main reason
you vote for
question. Because so many people teach about managing your brand and stuff, and I don't think it's the way to go, and it seems to be what everyone's saying.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where it makes sense on paper, but you get so far away from who you are that you get into this weird area where you're like, I don't know if I should talk about that. And you've missed an opportunity to share a connection with another person about something they're passionate about and you're passionate about because you're worried about the optics instead of worried about who you are. And if you are putting forth who you are, you will cultivate the kind of community that you actually want rather than the kind of community that you think is most monetizable or whatever metric you're going for. And I think that's for long-term streaming, that is dramatically more important than having bigger number, because bigger number could be there, but you could hate every day that you're streaming. You could have the most toxic, awful community that just shits on you all the time or wants to fight about every little thing. And it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. I'd rather have that good community where we can just chill out, play video games, have fun, talk about stuff, and, be nuanced about it. And when we do bring up the tough subjects.
So I don't think this next question really applies to you, but some YouTubers go through a full script writing process, others just hit stream and then have edit something
I just hit
out of
stream.
the content that happened? Like, I take it you're the latter, aren't you?
Yeah, I do. I just hit stream. Sunder and Shadelock are my two editors. So Shadelock does all the short form videos, and Sunder does all the long form videos. We call them shorts and pants, which is probably the best way. They're called tailors. Their official title is tailors because they make shorts and pants. But with that in mind, like Sunder will cut out long periods of time where, frankly, I'm just boring, right? Like that's live streaming. There's going to be some boring shit that happens in there. I stream 12 hours, like maybe an hour of that is a banger, right? On a good day. And then he'll make it like, these are all the funniest moments. This is all the funniest things. Here's the one short we got out of today's broadcast. Then we go and package that up and send it out, you know. And it just, that's kind of how it goes, right? You're hanging out with people, and every once in a while there's a funny moment, or there's something you didn't expect, or something that's kind of insightful, or like someone will ask me a question, I'll have a really good answer for it. But not all of them are amazing. It's just the ones that we find in there that are like, hey, that one was good. Or I feel it, and I'm like, I know I have a really good answer for this, that question that person asked, you know. But it's one of those things is like, I can't script any of that shit out. We just have to do it live and then cut out the chaff, you know.
Fair enough. So how distinct do you? I actually don't know if you're on other platforms besides YouTube. You're on TikTok, aren't you? Or did you just grab TikTok to stop other people grabbing TikTok?
So I grabbed TikTok and I started putting stuff up there, and then immediately found that I had like 100 clones. Like, it was insane. And what they were doing, and it's really shit, actually. I had to put out a thing on Twitter saying, like, these are all my actual official socials. But they'll make an account, they'll start posting as me, like videos as me, right? And it'll get a little bit of following, maybe like 10 to 60,000, followers, right? Which is not a small amount. It's a pretty good amount, right? And they'll get that, and then they'll start replying to people. And what they're doing is they just take my short, they re-upload it slightly slower, slightly faster, slightly redder, maybe slightly greener. They'll change the colors, whatever it's going to be. And they respond to people as me, like role-playing as me. And eventually they will lead that person to Telegram, and they'll try to get them to pay them in crypto so they can get advice for some situation that they're in. And they prey specifically on people that are in like really bad situations, like mentally. It's awful. It's horrific. And what they'll do is if I go in there and I post on them, there's a bot that instantly deletes my post within under a second. So they know exactly who I am. We have to get other accounts to go and do it. And if we post too many times with a whole bunch of people, it will delete all of the posts on it and then refresh it and just do it again. It's all automated. It's horrible. And we've reached out to TikTok about it, and it just doesn't go away. It's never gone away. YouTube's much better about that. We can fight that shit than we do. We go and do DMCA claims and shut those down immediately, and they're just gone. But TikTok doesn't care. They never have.
I guess, well, from a content perspective, do you think of them as different? Like, do you think this is a TikTok, it needs to be different to the shorts, or is it just, this is short form?
No.
Put it out on all the short form platforms.
I think of the platforms as different, but the content's exactly the same. I just put it up on YouTube, put it up on TikTok, put it up on Instagram. I think the one difference is TikTok is really easy to upload a lot of stuff. You can do like 30 videos at once. You just drop it in and hit go, and it's done. YouTube, you got to kind of calculate everything, the timing for the releases, and like, set it up days in advance. Like, I've got all my shorts for like the next 3 days set up in there, right? And then Instagram, you can't mass upload shorts, because what will happen is it tries to make them into the wrong dimensions if you upload more than one at a time. And it's like 30 seconds per upload for whatever reason. And I showed this on stream once, and there was a guy in the community that's actually an engineer at like working on Instagram as the platform. And he was like, we're going to put out something for that. And they still haven't. So he's probably caught up in red tape or something. But I'm hoping that eventually they get that mass uploading fixed in some tangible way, because it's horrible. It's just not, it doesn't compare.
Do you intentionally take advantage of trends, or is just not a thing that you think about?
No. I mean, the only time that I think that happens, and it's funny because people bring it up, they're like, oh, he's playing the trendy game. It's like, people ask for it, right? Like, you don't really need to follow a trend a lot of times. Like, I'm not out there being like, what's the most trendy video game for the moment? People just be like, you're gonna play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2? And I'll get asked that like 1,000 times a day. I guess we're playing that tomorrow, right? Like, that's it. You're all asking for it, so I might as well, right? Let's go see what's up. And then we do, and that's usually how kind of the trend happens, I guess. And it's funny because those people will share communities with other streamers, right? So they'll be asking on my stream, they'll be asking on their stream, and that kind of rolls into a trend. Really, I don't even know. I think it's just people excited about a specific thing, and then you just kind of ear to the ground, you hear it. That's about it.
So This is particularly prescient for you of late. Anyone who's been on YouTube knows what the comments can be like. Do you have a strategy for dealing with negativity?
Automod, man. Automod is it. I'm finding more and more, and this is something that I think is pretty new for me. There's a lot of times now where younger people don't actually read anything. They just see a headline for something and then just spam the headline a million times. And we saw this, I think the first time we saw this was when we had the Gilded Discord up, or Gilded up. It's like Discord. It's a Discord alternative. And they got bought by Roblox. And kids started coming into that Gilded, and they would say hello, and like between 5 to 10 seconds later, they'd start spamming dead Gilded, like, or dead chat, and they just start spamming the shit out of this. And then we banned them. And it was like, this happened right after they got bought by that. And I was like, this is weird. And now you fast forward a couple of years, and these kids are getting older, and they're doing this with all media, like everything. Anything that they see online, any drama, they'll just attach to it instantly and just start spamming the shit out of it. And it doesn't even have to be real. It's just something to talk about. And the strangest thing that I've seen about this is a lot of these kids will say that it's content. They'll describe any of this super negative stuff or this hateful messaging or any of this kind of stuff as content. And it's like, something's wrong there. I think something is really like deeply broken psyche-wise on the internet right now in terms of that, which is, it's dangerous shit, man. It's super dangerous. It reminds me, I think the only other situation that reminds me of is like Kony 2012, where suddenly everyone was like, we're going to overthrow Ugandan warlord by buying bumper stickers and liking this post on Facebook. And everyone's like pissed at each other. They're all yelling at each other and everything like this. But no one actually checked to see if that dude was real, or if he was still in power, or if any of the money was going anywhere sane. Like, it's just like, I got to be part of something bigger than myself. And I think it's so fast now and so whipped up into a frenzy that if you're not a part of it, you get left out. And when you get left out, you're not a part of the social circle anymore. And if you're not part of the social circle, you're lame and you're excluded. And it's bad, dude. Like, I think it's just hateful and bad. And I don't really know what to do about that other than just be like, you're stupid. Here's why. Here's some information. Wash my hands of it, walk away. And that's kind of what I've been doing with it. Of just like, we shut down all this stuff with as much automation as possible because it's just people posting the same shit over and over. And then if it's like egregious, I'll be like, no, here's a bunch of information, leave me the hell alone, and then just walk away. Because like there's not really much else you can do. And it's funny too, because people will be like, oh, it's just criticism. We've banned 40,000 accounts in 20 days. That's not just criticism. That's 40,000 individual accounts coming into the chat, saying insane shit, getting banned, and then the next guy doing the same thing. And it's like, it's wild, man. You'd think it'd be bots, but a lot of them are older accounts too. So I think automation's the way now. And it's unsolvable currently because, I don't know, the next generation handles the internet very differently than we did.
Sorry, I've lost my place. What would you say the hardest part about being a content creator is? That was supposed to be a follow-on question because most people say that. But yeah, what is it, like anything from being consistent, making good content in the first place, just succeeding?
I think the hardest, honestly, I think the hardest thing is a lot of people will get into a place where they start getting this loop where they get views for a certain activity and they want to double down on that activity. Whether that activity is something that they believe in or not, you can get caught in a rut of doing something specifically because it brings you more success. And I can understand that completely. Like, oh, wow, I put out a video about this thing and it got me 20,000 views when I normally get 100, right? Be careful of that lure. Whatever that lure is, if that's something you don't believe in, or something that's super negative, or something that you're just making up for clout, that is going to bite you in the ass. 100%. And I think that is one of the most dangerous things that I see in content creation right now. I don't necessarily think that makes content creation hard, but I do think it is a pitfall for content creators, especially ones that are just breaking out. Don't break out for a bad thing. Break out for cool shit that you did or positive things that you bring into the world. Not negative shit. It's a horrible thing to do. In terms of difficulty, I think the biggest difficulty I've come into, there's kind of a couple of them, right? Explosive growth is scary. That's probably the scariest thing that I've had to deal with. We went from 400 average viewers to about 10 to 15,000 in a span of about 2 months. It exploded, right? That means that our Discord went from 5,000 people to 220,000 people. That means that the YouTube went from about 3,000 subscribers to 2.6 million. And you'd think like, oh man, that's the most amazing moment of your life. It's lightning in a bottle. And if you don't catch it correctly, you will lose all of it immediately. And that means you have to drop everything. You have to start running. You have to do everything you possibly can to capture that in a way that is sane, that you don't burn yourself out, that you have enough support from other people. You hire those people and you pay them appropriately to do stuff. That's what I went through that whole process of the last year. Like, I formed a corporation, we have 17 staff members now, a ton of people doing all kinds of different stuff. We've got a legal team. We've got like a PR team. We've got all these different people doing stuff, like handling things, moderators and all this shit, you know. But like a year and a half ago, it was just me and a couple of dudes that were doing like some moderation stuff for like tips from the community. And that was it, you know, and I went live and I made like under federal minimum wage, you know, like, and now I'm CEO. So like you have to do that. And it's funny too, because this isn't the first time it happened. The first time that happened was when I first started streaming, and Jacksepticeye played our game, Heartbound. And the stream went from about 10 average viewers to 90. That was a massive amount of growth all at once. You know, that was a huge amount. And I lost all of it because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have any systems in place. The stream wasn't compelling. I was shitty. And I had this moment where it felt like I was in, I guess, like bronze in League of Legends, right? And like, I went from that moment of like, oh, I'm blaming everyone on my team in bronze. Oh, you're the reason I'm in bronze. It was like, no, I'm the reason I'm in bronze. Like I had a moment where all these people came in and they left because I suck. And I started working on that by doing things like I started watching videos like George Carlin, like insult comics and stuff like that. I started watching like live performances of people that are up there that have to deal with hecklers, you know. I started watching all these people to see how they performed, and I tried to emulate that in my own style and slowly build that up over time, and that's what worked for me. It's a learnable skill. You're not born with this. You don't just have the ability instantly to have all these thousands of people watching you, because you're gonna suck. I sucked. I still suck sometimes, right? Like, it's just how it goes, but it is a learnable thing. It is a teachable thing, and you have to find out how you want to do it, right? If that makes sense.
Yep. So if you could like snap your fingers and improve one thing about the content creation side, what would it be? And it doesn't really apply to you as much.
This is going to be a boring.
It doesn't really apply to you as much, but I always have to put the caveat in. You can't just say more views.
No. This is going to be a boring ass answer. Analytics. I would improve the analytics on everything Twitch side. YouTube does pristine analytics, but their live streaming is shit. It is horrible to live stream on YouTube by comparison. It's a mess. Live streaming on Twitch is amazing, but their analytics are dog. And I don't know, like, together they're a complete platform. Like, please just give me what the other one has, and just like, then we can call it a day. But I really think that it's that. I think it's the analytics, because on YouTube, you know exactly how much ad revenue you're making. You know where it's coming from. You know every single, like, all the viewers, how long the viewers are watching, where they dropped off the stream, where they dropped off on all of your videos, where are the boring parts, like where did I lose the audience because I just wasn't funny or interesting enough. On Twitch, you don't really get that. And Twitch has all these weird, like, technical issues that we get all the time, where like we'll get a thing called an error 2000. Started getting that after we got to about 5,000 average viewers. Error 2000, you get that, you lose 30% of your audience. They just get an error 2000 on screen, they just disappear, and that's it. And they're just gone. We don't know what causes it. Twitch can't figure it out. It's just gone. And like, I would love those technical issues on Twitch's side to be fixed. And I would love the analytics to be better on Twitch. And on YouTube's side, I would love the streaming experience to be better, because it's completely just a mess. You have to like create a broadcast and then hook up your OBS to that broadcast and then start streaming to it and then hit go live. And then the chat on it is a unique URL every time. So you got to take that and put it into your OBS, into the dock, because it's different every single stream. Just like weird stuff like that. Like, why is there so much manual process on Twitch? I just hit play, but it works sometimes, right? So weird. I guess I would fix a lot of stuff, really, when it comes down to it. I do think that if YouTube improved its live streaming experience and kind of the culture around that, like being able to raid people like we do on Twitch, they have this like live redirect, but it's not the same, you know? Yeah. And it sounds like raid, but you're wearing gloves. Like, why live redirect? Like, what's the matter with you? Don't do that. No, just make it interesting, and like I don't understand why YouTube has gone that route though. Is maybe they're just making way more money off of static videos. I think the way that I handle it now though is Twitch is for live streaming, YouTube is for static videos, TikTok is for people that have no time to watch your video in the first place, and Instagram is there for like kind of the older people that are still watching YouTube style content. Is how it kind of feels a lot of times, and it's fine. You just kind of put your videos everywhere and you just walk away, really.
So we're into the game dev questions. And how important would you say
Sure.
technical ability is for an aspiring game developer?
0. Literally doesn't matter. People like watching you solve problems. If you're shit at something, that's great. They love watching that. They love watching a struggle, right, when they're doing that. And I think some of the funniest content I've had making games on stream is when something doesn't work. When I have like a bug, and that bug is super dumb. Like we had I remember I was working on the tower and Heartbound on stream. And we had this bug where he like throws a coffee cup, and the coffee cup flies over, and it's supposed to like fall off the screen. And it falls off the screen, it gets smaller and smaller, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it just fills up the entire screen. And I was like, God damn. But they lost it, and it like turned into this giant meme, right? And like you should be okay with that. That's cool, right? You don't have to be like, oh no, they're gonna find out I'm bad at this thing. Good, great. Everyone's shit at it. That's how it works. You think code is perfect anywhere? No. Or like even with other stuff too, like you making music and it sounds weird, right? Like just put a fart noise in it, see what happens. See like like just weird stuff like that. Or we're doing pixel art, just add pixels in weird spots. We showed a little bit of like making lore and like showing his eyeballs in the wrong spots, just like moving a pixel one over, and he just looks ridiculous. There's all kinds of stuff you can do where it's like, this looks stupid, let's make fun of it for a minute. Great, right? And that's it. It's fine to make mistakes.
So there's plenty of fairy tale stories like Five Nights at Freddy's, Among Us, Balatro, things like that. Do you think games like this create unrealistic expectations, or they should be seen as aspirational, like a motivation to do that, or something in between?
I think they create unrealistic expectations for people that don't look into the history. If you go and look at Scott Cawthon, who's the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, he has released like 100 games. You've never heard of any of them. The same year he launched Five Nights at Freddy's, he released a game called Fart Hotel. It's a phone game where you select one dude out of 9, and if you get the wrong dude, they all laugh at you because you chose the dude that didn't make the fart, and they're like in a fart cabal, and that's it. Like that's the meme, right? Game is terrible. It's ridiculous. It's insane. And the same year he released Five Nights at Freddy's, people go, wow, this breakout indie dev made Five Nights at Freddy's. He's never made anything before. It's like, no, go look at his Wikipedia. Dude's got like 100 games. He's got like slot machine games and like some legacy of Flan RPG shit and like Fart Hotel. Like, look at these and see that there is a mile of trial and tribulation and weird ideas and shit that didn't work that is behind every game that popped off. Like I would be amazed if it was like, oh, that's my first game. I've never done anything else in my life. I've never done anything creatively ever, and my game exploded. Right? Like that's. I would be amazed if there was one or more of those people, which they probably exist, but they're rare as hell.
Do you think having a completely unique, never been done before idea is important, beneficial, or even possible at this point?
No. Nah. Everything's a remix of a remix. Just make shit. Don't worry about it. There's always going to be some obscure ass thing that somebody compares you to, no matter what it is. Then you're going to be like, I didn't even know about that thing. To be like, you're a liar. Yeah. It's just like, it's just kind of how it goes. So like, just make the thing you want to make, the thing that you think is going to be the most fun. I think the worst trap you could fall into is making the thing that you think is the most marketable when you're just starting out. Drop the AAA at the door. Just don't do that. Make the game that you think is cool. Make the content you think is cool. Don't make the thing that you think is the most marketable. As a good example of this, like all my videos on YouTube popped off, right? Go look at the thumbnails. They're all shit posts, every one of them. I literally looked at what Mr. Beast was doing, and I was like, I'm going to do the opposite of that, because everyone was like trying to do what Mr. Beast was doing, like make these pristine thumbnails, and they're all explosive and like big faces and shit. And I was like, what if I just make myself making a stupid face, and I just copy paste it in Paint over a guy, and then we just make that the thumbnail, and it blew up. And that was the first one was the Amori one. And I was like, wow, that worked. And then we looked into it, and we're like, when you go to look at all the videos, it's a bunch of Mr. Beast style thumbnails, and then like my dumbass looking face, and it looks completely different than anything around it. So it kind of sticks out. So I really think you should just do what you think is fun, not what the trend is, not, chasing that or whatever that's going to be, right? You kind of dilute the things that you're doing. You make yourself less unique. You make your games less unique that way. Just make cool shit.
Speaking of unique, you're probably the only person on this list that can answer this question in past tense rather than hypothetically in the future. If money stopped being a concern, or you didn't have to worry about getting your game funded, what would change about your game development process? And this could include, obviously you didn't, but this could have included I wouldn't bother. I would stop. I'd go live on a beach somewhere or whatever. But what would change? What did?
I could not bother, but I'm going to, work on it. I mean, we released an update on February 1st, and I'm gone back to doing monthly updates for everything for Heartbound. I had to take a year off. Like, this shit exploded so fast, like building a company and hiring everyone in globally. Like, yeah, that was the whole deal. And it was one of those things where it's like, okay, I could work on Heartbound every day, or I could build this juggernaut of a business, do all this kind of stuff, and then make sure that we can make all the games forever, right? So I chose that one because that one makes the most sense, and maybe some people angry. People are upset about that, but I'm going to make that choice every time, no matter what. Like, now I get to make games forever, and I don't have to worry about that. And I can hire on developers. In fact, one of the things that I got to do this last week is we're signing Stein, who's our musician. Stein went off and made their own game studio, and we're funding their next game. They couldn't find a publisher that wanted to take a gamble on it. I was like, I know you. I'm going to take a gamble on you. Here's some money. Just go make your game. Just do it, right? And that shit that I get to do now that otherwise would not be possible. At the same time, I also get to go do stuff like the ferret rescue. It's like, I want to take care of animals. I want to, improve lives there. I can just go do that. I want to give good wages and benefits to moderators on streams, because that doesn't ever happen. Those people never get paid. They always work for free or tips, and that's it, right? So we're able to do a full-time salary, medical benefits, vision, dental, and life insurance, and they get to have therapy whenever they want on a $50 copay. Wild shit that you just never get from moderators. So yeah, I went and built that machine, made a bunch of money, and now I get to return to game dev, and I got to release my first update for it. It feels great. So would I do this in a different way? I'd probably communicate more. I think it's the thing that I would change. But I was just running the whole time, sprinting. And that's the thing that fell out, because I was like, I'm going to work on this shit. And then I just couldn't. But now I can. So it's great,
Right. Yeah.
But I think that's the biggest thing is when you have an opportunity like that, do not pass up the lightning in a bottle. People will be upset at you, but they won't be upset at you when everything's finished and you're also in a good financial position.
It's great to get your perspective on that one, because like I say, you're the only person on the list who can say what they did do rather than what they would do. I don't know if this one really applies to you, because you've got Shay and Stein and stuff, but do you find it difficult? I mean, you write, don't you? You write the story on Heartbound. Yeah. So do you find it difficult to switch between a creative and a technical mode when you're working on the game? If you have to go from story writing to code writing kind of thing, or is it all kind of fluid for you?
No, it's all kind of fluid for me, but one of the things that I did learn is I hate writing on stream. I don't like to do it. I think writing for me is pretty personal, deeply personal. And I used to do it on stream, and it was fine when we had 50 people. But now that I got 8 to 10K when I'm doing game dev stuff, it terrifies the shit out of me for some reason. I get really self-conscious. I get really nervous. I start sweating and shit. I'm like, I'm just not fucking doing this on stream. And I just won't. I literally just do all the writing off stream. I could fix bugs and shit on stream. I'm not worried about that, right? I don't care. But writing, I don't know why. I just can't do that on stream. It bothers the hell out of me. But yeah, that's something that I found about myself. I'm just not going to do it.
I understand. I know that feeling, not wanting to do creative things in front of people. Yeah. So the last one of the indie dev only questions is what would you say the hardest part about being an indie dev is?
Hardest part about being an indie dev, I think, is if you go into it full time, right in the beginning. The missteps are probably the worst thing that can happen. There's a lot of people that will be like, I'm going to quit my day job. I'm going to go make indie games. I'm like, don't do that. Keep your day job. Let it fund you. Go make some games on the weekends. Go join some game jams. Get a feel for this. Maybe release a couple of shitty games. Feel good about those. Get better at it. Keep going until one of them pops off. And when it does, and you have enough money to say, eat shit, then tell your job to eat shit. And that's it, right? If you go about this where you're like, I'm going to hit it big. I'm going to make the next Undertale right off the bat. I'm going to make the next Five Nights at Freddy's. You're probably not. And you're going to go into this now with the financial pressure on you of I have to make a banger. And that is going to warp the way that you approach creativity. And it's going to suck. And I think that's something that's really, really dangerous. And I've seen it happen too many times. Just keep your day job. Use that day job to fund it.
Right. So these are the combo questions about both together. Was in your case, was the decision to become both a content creator and an indie dev like a conscious decision that you made at the same time, or was it you were doing one and you decided to do the other, or like were they completely separate decisions?
I was at the same time. It wasn't to be a content creator though. So originally, our Kickstarter popped off, got like 385% funded, blew up, got huge, right? And I started streaming because I was like, everyone's worried the Kickstarter is going to be a scam or some shit like that. And then we started streaming it to show the core community, hey, we're working the game. We just got to build it there. And it became so much more. So much more. And then a whole bunch of shit happened in my life, right? Like, so like it was all kinds of shit. I got divorced. That was the thing. Moved up here, got COVID, almost died. Moved through a bunch of different places up here before I got my house. And then my community exploded in size. So like, there's just like all this insane shit over the last like 5-6 years. And I don't know, dude, my life's completely different now. It's a completely different time. And I think the thing is that all started with, let's stream a little bit to show people that we're actually making the video game. And then I couldn't do that for a bunch of times. So it kind of defeated the purpose. But it evolved into content creation of like, people just wanted to hang out and watch me do stuff. They wanted to see my take on video games. In fact, for a long time, I didn't even stream games really. It was like a once a week thing or maybe once or twice a month thing. It wasn't even a big deal. Unless I went on to a binge here and there. I did that a couple of times. I found out very quickly you're not supposed to play certain games because they kill your channel. So that's about it. Mostly because I was probably boring playing them, to be honest with
you. So do you see one as the means to the other? Like if you, for whatever silly reason, you had to stop one streaming or game dev, like it doesn't have to be a realistic reason, just for whatever reason you had to stop, would you continue doing the other, or do they come hand in hand?
I would stop doing streaming if I had to choose. I like making stuff. And whether somebody's watching or not is irrelevant for me.
Oh, sorry. I mean, like, if you had to stop one, would you keep doing the other? Is what I meant. Like, are they a package deal, or if you had to stop game dev, you carry on streaming?
If I had to stop one, I would keep doing the other. Yeah, I don't want to sit here on my ass. That's awful. Like I love doing this shit. I think the biggest thing though is they feed into each other really well. You'd be very surprised. Sponsors will pay a lot of money to a content creator to show off their game. But that's impersonal. You're not a dev. And the community is seeing you through the lens of a marketing activity where you're being paid. And they will likely distrust you as a result of that, regardless of how much you're being paid. It's one of the reasons why I intentionally do not want to be paid and do not accept sponsorships for certain games. And I stream them anyway to show the community that I actually like that game. That's a very important thing to me. I think that's something that a lot of, I guess, game devs and streamers don't really understand is you are the best asset you have for marketing. You don't need to pay somebody else. You don't need to go to a marketing firm. You don't need a publisher. Get on stream, tell people about the thing that you're making, set up a Discord, set up a bunch of social media accounts, have them all tie into each other, and show off the thing that you're making. Go engage in things on Twitter like Screenshot Saturday. Show off your game during Screenshot Saturday. Show that shit off. Or the recent trend that just came through of here's 15 seconds of my indie game. That was a great little foray into all of these weird indie games, all these crazy mechanics. People just put together these GIFs of like, here's the cool shit for my indie game. I was like, wow, that's an awesome goddamn mechanic. And I like retweeted a couple of them. They're awesome, dude. But like, that's how you get discovered today. And it doesn't necessarily mean you need to pay thousands of dollars or, tens of thousands of dollars to a content creator or some firm to go and show your shit off. You just have to speak. And some people will notice. Even one is worth more,
Right. You kind of went straight into the next question, so we can skip over that. That was going to be like, does one feed into the other? That was the next question.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you say the biggest challenges are in using content creation as a model for like funding and marketing a video game? Specifically an indie game, sorry.
Like I said before, I don't think you should use it as a way to fund the game. I think that you should have an outside source of income while you're doing this kind of stuff in the beginning. When that thing gains legs and the game is selling enough and the stream is making enough where you feel comfortable enough to realistically quit your day job, and that means you have months of data to show like, hey, this is working, this is the trend. I would say like a year of that before you do it. Because one of the things a lot of people don't realize is ad revenue fluctuates dramatically throughout the year. So there is a drop off every year from fourth quarter, which is, your October, November, December, to January, February, March. It is about 40 to 50%. You will lose about 40 to 50% ad revenue every year from those 3 months to these 3 months, every time, because advertisers just don't pay in the first 3 months of the year. And people don't realize that. And they're like, wow, my money's going up and I'm poor again. What happened? Right? Because they don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff. And they don't realize that advertising revenue isn't just the little ticker of like how many people are watching you and the ads that you're playing. It's also things like sponsorships and the availability of those sponsorships. It's the size of the purse on those sponsorships. It's the willingness for those companies to even engage in the first place. It's people doing shout outs for things for different companies. There's so many different marketing activities that just shut down for the first 3 months of the year. And you need to understand what that feels like, I think, for at least a full year before you even approach the subject of maybe I'm going to go do this full time, just so you can get a feel for it and track everything along the way.
Right. What do we get to say? Right. If you were starting from scratch and you could choose only one potential funding model, so this would include like content creation is an option, not a good one as you say, but an option. A publisher, crowdfunding, any of the potential methods for funding a video game, other than. But actually, no, not other than. You can include the one you've already said, which is like stick with your job and do it on a weekend. Like what would you choose? Out of any potential, whatever method it is, you can just snap your fingers and your game is funded. What method would you choose?
So any method in the game would be funded?
Yeah. Yeah, you're starting from scratch. You've got no money set aside for this, and you can snap your fingers and whatever model you've chosen funds your game. So it could be a publisher, it could be suddenly you've got a 2 million view YouTube channel that's making you enough money to pay the game. It could be crowdfunding, successful Kickstarter, something like that.
I would honestly say it's got to be either one of two options. It's going to be an angel investor, which means they throw money at you and they say, I don't want to have anything back. Take it, right? Which is rare, but those happen. Or a community-driven something. And the community-driven something is like YouTube channel, Kickstarter, stuff like that, because that is worth so much more to have players that are invested in interest in the thing you do than you getting a ton of money to make the thing of your dreams that is untested and you may not actually have it work, right? You could get $1 million, but you can still make a turd sandwich, right? So like having, if people are invested in the thing that you're doing, that's so much cooler than having a pile of money, because that will eventually become money, likely, if they're really invested in the stuff they're doing, either by them actually supporting you financially or they're just watching your stuff and advertisers take over at that point, right? So I think either of those scenarios. In fact, I'm going to lean away from the angel investor. Screw that shit. Community is going to be the bigger one, because like angel investors still can turn out when you make a turd sandwich because you've never shown it to anyone, even if you've got a bunch of money for it. Yeah, if we're just talking finances, I'd say community over anything else. In fact, in general, I'd say community over anything else.
Oh. So this one's open-ended. You can say, apply whatever caveats you want to this. Assume someone wants to be an indie dev. Should they become an indie dev? Like you can apply whatever ifs or buts or caveats or anything. Just somebody wants to be an indie dev. Should they?
The moment you start making something, you are a game developer. And I want to be very clear about this. There's a lot of people that go, oh, I'm an aspiring game dev. I'm an aspiring musician. I'm an aspiring artist. No, you are an artist, goddammit. That is what you are making art. That is what you're doing. And I think when people put these types of goalposts in front of themselves, they're finding a way to diminish the activities that they're doing because they haven't made it yet. But as they go forward in their career, they'll keep shifting that goalpost. Well, I don't have as many views as that guy. My game didn't pop off like that guy's. I mean, it's got 10,000 players, but I mean, it doesn't have 11,000, right? Like that's where that leads into, and people don't celebrate their accomplishments because of it. So I would say the first thing with all of that is celebrate those damn accomplishments. You are making things. You are a game dev. So if you want to be a game dev, go join a game jam, make some shit. And it doesn't have to be a digital video game. You can make a card game. You make a board game. You can go run a D&D campaign. That's game dev. You're creating an experience so that other people are playing, and I think that's something really important. You want to be an artist? Go doodle some shit. It doesn't have to be amazing. Go look at comics like XKCD, right? One of the most beloved comics in the world, stick figures. It doesn't matter. And you could look at games like Kingdom of Loathing, right? It's just stick figures again. Or you could look at Thomas Who's Alone. It's rectangles. Suits of Business RPG. It's like sketchy stick figures, So like you've got all these examples of like, you don't need to be God's gift to this stuff. Don't hold yourself back. If you want to be a game dev, just make games. You don't have to quit your day job. You don't have to have a ton of money. You don't need to make a AAA. You don't need to have next-gen 3D graphics. You can make sticks, like stick figures and rectangles, and the gameplay can be fun as hell. There's a really good game for this actually right now. Guy wanted to make a Souls-like game, right? And he made a game called Void Souls, which is a very minimal Souls-like game. You are a tiny little triangle, top down. And it is, every piece of it is a Souls-like game. You will die to learn. You will dodge. You will block. You will endlessly die in this game. And it's fun as shit. And it feels just like you're playing a Dark Souls game. Because it is. It's just minimalist. So you can approach these types of games from different angles too and do them in new and fantastic ways. And it doesn't make you any less of a dev. Not at all.
Okay, we'll go to the last question then. This one is, but by design, looking for like a short answer, like hopefully like one sentence kind of thing. If you could give only one short piece of advice to somebody who is looking at the indie dev / content creator combo path, what would it be?
Just one piece of advice?
One short piece of advice, yeah.
Watch your own stuff. There are too damn many times that people don't watch their own stuff. They throw it out in the nether and like, I don't know why that did bad. Next. And you're like, dude, no. If you watch your own stuff, and you're like, well, I'm boring as shit. You need to address that. Watch it. Watch your own. It's painful. Don't watch it in 5 times speed or any stupid shit either. Watch your own stuff. Critique yourself. Don't be rude to you. You're the only you have. Be honest with yourself, but watch yourself. It's very important. And a lot of people forget that.
Thank you. That is all of the questions. The video game industry is currently the most lucrative entertainment market, and it's not even close. The independent video game industry alone is worth around $5 billion, and is expected to double over the next 5 years.
There's just like all this insane shit over the last like 5-6 years. I don't know, dude. My life's completely different now. It's a completely different time.
And I was always interested in games. I just never really thought that I could do it. I didn't think I was smart enough. I thought it would be too competitive for me to get into.
There was a lot of those conversations, and me and the co-dev that was working on Soundbells, we realized very quickly, like, oh, like we don't have this money. So
I used to kind of like try and troll them back, kind of, or just give them just bad information and try and play with them a little bit. But I found that is actually detrimental.
Instantly, like I think the first day I streamed game development, 2 people came into my chat and they were like, "Shut the hell up, you stupid B word! You're not a real coder. Go make me a sandwich." And I was like, "Bruh."
It's possible that it's a possibility that it exists, and there is a chance, but it's like winning the lottery when we talk about those kind of games.
It does take a toll a little bit on your ego when you have to hear that over and over again. Like,
you're probably just using the whole "I make games for me" thing as an excuse to avoid having to face the prospect of failing. So maybe you should stop fannying about and get on with it, Beaks.